Hi there, welcome to the latest episode of my 10-minute moan. And the topic of this 10-minute moan is to discuss the ridiculous decision by Labour to tax soldiers, partners and children on their death and service benefit. Now, I heard this yesterday when I was driving up to Perth, middle of Scotland, and I was like confused. I thought, why would you do that? Why would a country take away a benefit from the armed forces? So what they're basically doing is your death and service benefit, if you die while you're signed up to the Army, Navy or Air Force, anybody you name on your policy will get paid money, a lump sum. Now, I don't know what the Army's is, but the general rule of thumb for commerce is about 4 times salary, okay? So your squaddy just now, I think a squaddy's wage is about 25 grand a year. So I would guess that would be about £100,000. If he was to die, would go to whoever he's named in the policy. And a lot will never bring them back. It's a nice enough sum. And, it would do something good for, the person getting that money in horrific circumstances. But they've changed that. It used to be a tax-free lump sum. There you go. Sorry to hear about your loss. There's some money. I hope things get better. But now they've decided to tax that. Now, there are a couple of exclusions from that. If you die at work, it's all right. But if you die off duty, you're liable. And if you're married and it's to your wife, then she gets it tax-free. But if it's a partner, unless you're married, or a civil partnership, i.e., a man married a man type thing, woman marries a woman. But if you've got a partner, or you want to leave it to your children, or anybody else for that matter, you get inheritance tax. And see, if that was always the case, then that was always the case. To actually take it away from people, it's just like, really? Is that what we're doing? So it's basically similar to the thing with the farmers, although this is worse because it'll affect more, I would imagine, right? But I thought, well, the country must be really skint if you'd even consider doing something like this to your armed force personnel, right? So I thought, well, how much is the Treasury likely to make out of this? And obviously, we can't give you an exact figure, but I'll give you the figures and you can work out your own estimate from that. If we take it that the vast majority of people in the armed forces are privates, they're getting £25,000 a year, then it's fair to suggest that the majority of people that die will be privates, okay? So that would give me, and again, I'm using the 4 times salary, just, because that's what commerce pays, so I'm guessing that's what the soldiers would pay, or it's even more ridiculous if it's less. So that would be about £100,000, and somebody in the basic rate of tax would pay, 20-25% of that? So we're talking about 25 grand, which makes a massive difference if you're the recipient of that as a tax-free thing. But in the real terms, what does it make the country? What difference does it make to the trillions of pounds on the economy? If we need to go and save some big figures, go and save some big figures. I get that. But if you need to save money, this is the bit that just does my head in. If the country really has to save money, surely your old age pensioners with the heating allowance and your soldiers with this death and service benefit, they'd be the last people you would touch in a normal, civilised society when normal people make no decisions. It seems crazy to me that you would even consider that when you're 6 months in, two groups that you're penalised, old people and soldiers, and armed forces. I do apologise to the Navy guys and the Air Force. I use that term soldiers when I should say armed forces, right? So, but how skint is the government? When, if you imagine it's 20-25 grand per case, roughly, right? And there's 73, I believe, people passed away in the armed forces the last full year that they counted it. I think that was 2023. So I'm talking about 70 people, roughly. Figures will remain constant, I would imagine, unless we're at war. Now, out of them, you would kind of guess, because I looked at, they actually had the types of death. Now, the vast majority, the biggest chunk, is a bit frightening. Where is it? the biggest chunk was accidents, cancers. 25% are cancer, right? So you've got to kind of think, if you pass away with cancer, you're not at your work, right? The next two biggest are accidents and land transport accidents. They accounted for 38% between them. So that's quite a big, we're at 25, 47, 50, 60 odd percent now before we get to the smaller things. So you've got to kind of guess that the vast majority of people that are passing away are not actually at their work. So they get taxed. Because if you're at your work when you pass, you get another, you don't need to pay tax on that. So if you're not physically at your work, that's when you're going to pass away, because we're not at war, right? Suicides, well, I kind of guess you're not going to be doing that in the barracks, or it might happen. There was, unfortunately, 10% of the deaths, 7 of them were suicides that year. It was horrific. Diseases of the circulatory system, again, you'd kind of think that wouldn't happen. So, we're almost all those situations. I think folk are not at work. So, we're taking 20 to 25,000 pounds, say, that the government would get into the Treasury by doing this, right? So go take the worst case scenario, 25,000, and out of the 70, let's say 50 are at work. Not at work when they die. You're talking about just over £1 million in total, right? And for these people, the 20, 25,000 pounds would be a massive difference. Do you know what I mean? Somebody with a soldier, young private, couple of kids. Massive difference to these people. £1 million to the government, no, it's a massive difference, right? Dead easy. See, next time we want to give you £100 million to some benefit and bloody, I don't know, halfway up Kilimanjaro, right? Some monastery or something. Well, instead of giving 100 million, just give them 99 million, pay the soldiers when they die, right? Don't have them having to cough into paying tax on it. So that's even, it makes it even worse, because I think, why would you do that? This country can't be that bad, and that £1 million is going to be the difference between, affecting major services. And that's really the essence of what we're doing here. We're trying to bring in about £1 million on tax from dead soldiers, partners and kids. I'm struggling with it. I must admit, I am really, really struggling with this. I spent most of yesterday talking to an ex-service guy, right? Cracking guy. He found it hard to believe me because he hadn't heard this news. And he was gobsmacked. And rightly so. And most people that are in the forces, it tends to be a family thing, if they're not their father, but maybe cousins and uncles, aunties, that sort of stuff. God forbid one of them pass away and the government take this money off them in tax, inheritance tax. Does that inspire the next generation to say, yeah, I'll do that. I'll do my bit for king and country? No, it won't. And if I feel pissed off with it and I'm not in the armed forces, how do your 100 and odd thousand that are in the armed forces right now feel about it? Do you know what I mean? It's just, for what? For £1 million? It just beggars belief. I cannot. The amount of desks this must have passed before we even put it up for debate, and nobody went, well, how much will that get to Treasury? £1 million? Really? Yeah, let's piss off our armed forces for the sake of £1 million. Right? It's bonkers. You would think, see if you wrote down, right? See if your challenge was to piss the country off within 6 months of winning an election. But all right, how can we really piss them off? I know, Algins and soldiers, right? It's the top two if that was your aim was to piss people off. And I don't know, to actually affect those two people. And then the farmers are going to be right up there, right? And all due respect to the farmers, right? I think the way you've been treated pretty rotten, right? But I think you're probably at least third place behind the soldiers and the Algins, right? And you'll probably agree with that yourself. Nobody will fall out with me for saying that. But even them, you would go, right, the people that keep feeding, you know, what way can we stitch them up? What way can we take more money off of them, right? Now, your normal communists, right, because that's what you are, they're communists, right? You guys normally want to redistribute wealth. Well, you're taking off the people that aren't up the top here. £25,000 to do the job of a private in the army is absolutely pittance if you ask. Now, I know that, you know, that if they're single and they're not having to pay for families, right? You know, they're maybe getting fed and whatever. So, you know, their cost of living might be arguably a wee bit less than normal people, but they still want cars, they still want holidays, they still want to, you know, maybe set up a family and buy a house some point. And I don't particularly think £25,000 a year is a lot of money for that, right? So you're no redistributing any wealth here. You're robbing the poor. Olgins, geezer, you're not getting that anymore, right? Soldiers, privates, 25 grand a year. No, we'll tax your wains if you bloody die, you know, you crash your car on your way to work. You know, the first person that came into my head when this was talking was Lee Rigby, because the talk was when you're on duty or off duty. I mean, that poor guy was off duty. He wasn't working, right? And I'm not sure what his setup is. I'm sure he had a girlfriend and kids, right? So there's a cracking example of somebody that, and I might be wrong, but I'm kind of guessing he was off duty. And I'm kind of sure he wasn't married. I'm sure but listen, if he was married, fine, because that would not, you know, if you're married, it doesn't matter, you don't get it, right? But I'm going, well, that sum's wrong, actually, because I'm not taking into consideration the married ones. They don't get it, right? So it's less than £1 million. It's worse than I thought, right? Oh my God. But anyway, right, so somebody like Lee Rigby, right, national treasure, hero to the millions of people in the UK, honour the boy, have a tear in their eye every time they hear about him, right? Somebody like that, stabbed to death by a couple of lunatics, right? If he's not married, there's your death and benefit, and you owes 20 grand. Honest to God, I'm losing the will to live with this mob, right? This is wrong. We have got a country with zero community values, right? There is no community spirit. We need to get it back, right? And what do? Aye, let's piss off the soldiers and the Navy and the Air Force. Let's neg them out, right? Let's make them feel dead proud of the country. For what? And as I say, I've not even factored that in. The Treasury don't get the money off you if you're married, don't get it off you if you're not married, right? So, they don't even, if half of them's married, they're making 600 grand. Seriously? I don't know. Where do they get off in this nonsense? But anyway, I'm rabbiting on enough. If you enjoyed the video, sorry if you enjoyed the video, it's horrible. Give me a thumbs up if you want other people to see it. If you've not already done so, please consider subscribing to the channel and hitting the notifications bell. But let me know what you think in the comments below. You know what I mean? Particularly anybody that's serving right now. I'm gutted for you, right? But most importantly of all, unless you're the type of person that thinks taking this money off soldiers, you know, dead soldiers, families, is right. No you. You're crackers, no you. But
everyone else, have a great day. Cheerio, bye now.